This is going to be a tutorial on how to install MeloNX, a Ryujinx fork built specifically for iOS onto your Mac. And so you might be asking, why would you want to do this instead of just using something like Ryujinx or KenjiNX that already is an updated fork that has native macOS builds? And the only main reason is that MeloNX has the best memory optimizations by far due to the iOS constraints that it works with. It uses nearly half of what Ryujinx does in a lot of games at the same resolution without losing a lot of performance, and in some circumstances even having better performance. And so this could be really beneficial for lower end Macs, specifically Macs with 8 gigabytes of RAM, because that's kind of the target memory usage that MeloNX is working with. A couple of things to note is something like plate cover won't work where you just install the IPA directly onto your Mac, because plate cover has a lot of issues with JIT, and the libraries are all built for iOS, and so if you try to run them on macOS, there's usually some issues there as well, and so you are going to have to compile it directly on your Mac using Xcode. To start compiling MeloNX, there's actually already a great guide on the actual site, and so I will be linking that in the description as well. But to begin, you are going to need .NET 8.0 and then obviously Xcode. Once you have both of those installed, you are going to want to run this command. And so right now, the git clone link that they're showing is actually the old one. As you can see, it's moved over to the Ryujinx domain. And so you are going to want to run this instead in your terminal. So I will also be putting this in the description. This is just the new command, and this should be updated soon in the README. And so let it run. It will take a few minutes. Just sit here, be patient. It might look like it's stuck. It's not. Just give it some time. Once it has completed, you are also going to want to run this command after you cd into emu, and then run that command. This is just the compile command. You won't have some necessary dilibs if you don't run this, and you'll have a lot of syntax errors in Xcode. Just run this. It'll also take a second. And this one might actually take longer depending on how good your internet is and everything. And so just give it some more time. So once this has completed, you're just going to want to navigate over to emu. This is in your user path. And so then you're just going to want to go to src, then MeloNX, and then open the Xcode project. Once you open this up, you'll see a couple errors, and these aren't anything to really be worried about. It's just, it was already trying to compile for the simulation. It's not an issue. Then just make sure you have Ryujinx headless SDL2 here. And so this is the most important part. Make sure you have this, because you will have a ton of issues trying to compile it. If you ran the script from earlier, the compile script, this should be fine. Should be good from here. Then you're just going to want to go down into the MeloNX targets and then signing in capabilities. Change it to your team. There we go. A little bit bug, average Xcode experience. Then you're just going to want to change the bundle identifier to something that is not Stasis. And then you're just going to want to put your team in the test and UI tests, and you should have everything set up from here. So once you've changed the bundle identifier and the team, you are just going to want to go up into product and then clean build folder, and this should fix any of the errors or syntax errors that you were having before. And now you're just going to want to make sure that the target is my Mac. You don't want to build it. Let me give you an example. You don't want to change this to something like Mac Catalyst or Mac in general. You are just going to want to keep design for iPad. And so then now you just want to build it, let it build, let it run. It may take a second. Just sit and be patient. And so now MeloNX has started. And so you can just import keys in firmware as you usually would, but what I like to do is just go into Ryujinx and grab the biz and system folders from there. So just grab biz and system, you're just going to want to copy those, and then you're going to want to go into File Explorer and look up biz. And so to do this, why you're doing this is it's kind of hard to find this specific MeloNX instance that you've built and its documents. So you're just going to want to find this file path, go to documents, and then here is where the biz and system folders for MeloNX is. You just want to paste those in, and then MeloNX is still running, so you're just going to want to build it once more. And now they are all set up. So you can finish setup. Now that I have imported my ROMs, I'm just going to want to rebuild MeloNX. And so now it's here, and you can notice that it has JIT enabled. And so now you are just going to want to detach from the process itself and set up your settings, connect the controller, and that's really it. You're just going to want to start a game, and it'll boot as normal. Sorry about the weird audio cut. I didn't realize how loud MeloNX it was compared to my microphone until after recording. But here I'm just explaining that you do have to build every time you want to re-enable JIT. You can't just open the application like a regular Mac OS program. Even though it does say JIT is enabled, you will just load infinitely here. And then another thing to note is that hypervisor is not accessible on MeloNX yet. I do believe Stassi has some plans to implement that, but that is later down the road.